This is Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us on this week's edition of Financial Straight Talk. Alongside Jim Fox from Wadadley Financial Group, Kevin McAlpin here with you. And Jim, we're having a lot of fun, man. I'm so glad to actually do this face-to-face because for folks who don't know, we are typically remote. I'm based out of Atlanta. You're there on the Space Coast of Florida, an area that I'm certainly well familiar with, just zipping up and down that Florida Turnpike, spring training after spring training. But it's great to have you, man. And thanks so much for making the trip up.
Yeah, man, I love it. And there's something we said, I wish they could hear us when we cut, right? That's the best part. Actually, Michelle is glad nobody can. So there's the good news. But yeah, it's great, man. And I love it. And like I said, man, you can tell the difference in energy 100%. Yeah. And we're going to give this to the audience. They need this too. So
no doubt about it.
So what's our next topic?
Well, I don't know. You're the one who sent me topics for a change.
Well, I don't remember what I do, man. I mean, you can't figure that out by now. I kind of wing it. So let's see what happens.
Well, listen, the name of the show is Financial Straight Talk. And it's something I know you and I have talked about in shows in the past. And it's something that's a big deal for you when our listeners and when your clients come by the office. You're going to shoot straight with them, man. And sometimes those conversations, they're going to hear things maybe they don't necessarily want to hear, but sometimes it's things that they need to hear, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I get in trouble sometimes because God made me without a filter, and if he did, it just doesn't function very well. and you know, if people ask me for my opinion, I feel as if that's like an open door that I can actually give them my full opinion. And when I sit down with somebody, I just need them to know that I'm not saying that I'm always right. That isn't the point. But when I believe in something, right, I can back up the stuff that I talk about and why I feel the way I do. But I want them to know my passion for what I do. And we talked about earlier that I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't grow up with a dog named Dollar and a Rolls Royce, right? I mean, the reality is I was a redneck in Rockledge, and we struggled, and nobody ever took care of someone like my mom and dad and helped them make good decisions. They just sold them more and more junk, right? So when I got this knowledge, I have this desire to just spew it sometimes, for no better word. And we were joking around one day about what we do. And our original show name, it's so horrible, but I got to tell you, Kevin, just, you know, our show started with the name, our area code is 321, right? So our area, so 321 liftoff, rockets, right?
Sure.
So our original show name was 321 retirement. How horrible is that, right? And one day someone says, you're the financial straight talker. And that's where Financial Straight Talk came from, because I'm sick and tired of all the big fancy terms and all the other junk that goes with it. And I just want to shoot it straight. And I need you guys to understand, I don't care if you pick up the phone and call me. That's important. And you'll never hear another financial advisor say that on air.
Right.
I don't care about that. I want you to listen to our show and go, finally, there's someone in my corner. Finally, there's somebody who isn't going to just say whatever they got to say so they can sell whatever they got to sell so they can make their boat payment. I am financially independent. I don't need to do this. I do this because I love it, and people like my mom and dad need this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of you out there right now who have millions of dollars, and you're still good old country folk. You're still people that aren't sure what to do, and you go down and see the guy in the suit and the tie and all the other stuff, and you feel intimidated. That isn't how it works here. What we want to do is give you that common sense approach to financial planning. That's what we do. Common sense, real terminology. You know how I hate these stupid terms, inverted yield curve. What? Come on, man. You're new to this industry.
Very much so, yeah.
You hear these, you know, when we talk about suitability is an easy word, right? Yeah. But what happens when we talk about Sharpe ratio, right? I mean, what is the Sharpe ratio? You have no idea. No, neither does anybody else. You want to know, what is it? Sharpe ratio is basically how much risk are you taking for the return you're going to get. So why not just say, hey, listen, it's important that we figure out how much risk you get or take to get a certain rate of return. It makes more sense. That's why we do what we do, is we want to make this common sense, straight talk, right? And I hope, and you're a great test case, because one of the things we talked about day one is you go, hey, I don't know all this stuff. When I say something doesn't make sense, I want you to go, whoa, hold on, Jim.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. How do we make this work? And that is really our goal. I've been so fortunate, man. I've taught at the local high schools. I've taught at the local colleges. One of the guys that actually helped get me in this industry had a PhD in mathematics, and he would have me come in and teach
a finance class for him for a week or two at a time. Wow. I mean, what an honor that is. And this is the guy that introduced me to the industry, and he has a PhD in mathematics. I mean, Warren Birch, for those of you who know him, Dr. Birch, he passed away years ago. What an amazing guy. But just being able to give back to my community. And you know what? So many of you guys are out there and you don't even know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you got a 401k, you have a 403b, a TSP, you got some IRAs, you got some non-qualified, a 529, a little bit of Florida prepaid, a little bit of Florida prepaid college. Maybe you have an HAS or you have an HSA, right? All these things start to get confusing. Do you have a SIMPA, SEPA, KEHO, right? Do you see what I'm talking about? Straight talk?
Yeah.
Did I not just speak an entirely new language to you?
You did.
That's the point of our show. Stop all that nonsense. Kevin, quick test. There's a 401k. You've heard of those. You have one.
I have one, yeah.
You know there's something called a 403b?
I've heard of them, and I can't tell you what I could do with it.
Well, here's a question. Do you know what the difference between the two of them are?
No idea.
For all intents and purposes for you, absolutely nothing. One is written for a company that is for profit. The other one is written with a company that is not for profit. But you know what it means to Kevin Mack himself? Nothing. It's still tax deferred. There's no difference. It's a tax code 401k. Tax code 401k. 403b, tax code 403b. Do you see how it works? Tax code 457, tax code 457, right? This is the nonsense that people get 529 over and over again. Listen to what you want to do. You bust your butt for your money. You have no idea most of the time what to do with your money. You surely don't know how to retire on it. Your guy says, we're going to earn you 24%, 18%, 12%. They're selling that nonsense. How about somebody come and says, hey, look, Kevin, here's how long your money's going to last at its current pace that you're on. It's going to last 103. Kevin goes, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Kevin, it's going to last to 77. You go, ooh, that's a little tight, right? That is a common sense approach, and that's what we do. You know, we had written down here, and I don't know how I ramble as much as I do, but we talked about having a holistic approach. Why do we have to use words like holistic? It's a common sense approach to retirement. Let me help you. You are a teacher. You are a baseball coach. You are an engineer. You are a fireman, a cop, whatever it is. You know what you're not? A financial planner. Yet you hope and you pray that at whatever given age, 59, 62, 68, 73, whatever age, you're going to somehow miraculously make the right decision and do a career pivot and make the right decisions for you and your family. It's a dangerous move. But then you got the people that are in my industry that are just selling products to people, right? So we want to make sure that when we sit down with somebody, they understand not only why we want to do it, but more importantly, how is it going to impact me, my wife, or my husband? And when we both pass away, talking about that pickle truck, when we both pass away, how does it go to our kids? See, that's common sense. But there's a saying, Dad, you say it all the time, common sense isn't so common anymore. And you know that when you go sit down with somebody and they talk to you about all these fancy things, you walk out there, your head's spinning, and you can't tell me what they just try to pitch you. My goal when you come into my office, Kevin, is simply this. Sit down with you. Figure out what makes sense for you and your family. How long will your money last? How much do you need? How will it be taxed? What kind of risk you should take? Figure all that stuff out. And I should be able to hand you a napkin and a crayon. And you should be able to basically jot down the basics of your retirement. That is what I would call a common sense approach to retirement. See, too many of us think that we're going to go out and we're going to be Warren Buffett. There can only be one Oracle. Okay, that's his nickname, by the way, if you haven't heard it yet. Okay, they call him the Oracle.
Right.
There can only be one Oracle, and it's probably not going to be you. And yeah, the person who thinks they're smart enough to figure it out is probably the most dangerous person to themselves. Guys, listen, I'll throw this at you because I think this will impress you, okay? Tiger Woods, at the time, one of the greatest golfers on the planet. He had a swing coach. Just think about that. His name was Butch Harmon, if you remember. If Tiger Woods, one of the greatest golfers in his heyday, one of the greatest, was paying somebody to help him improve his swing, who probably couldn't swing a club as good as Tiger Woods.
Right.
Why do we think we are going to bet our financial future that we're going to listen to the right radio show, the right YouTube channel, or even worse now, TikTok videos to help you make the right decisions? That's why we do what we do, is to simplify life, make things make sense, and make sure that you understand not only what we are doing, but the why behind it.
And what you're saying to me is I shouldn't search Jim Fox TikTok?
If you do, our compliance team will have a heart attack. So no, you're not going to see Jim TikTok, but there is a Jim Fox, Wadadley Financial Group YouTube page. That's where you can catch our podcast. So that's always available to you. But yeah, you don't want to get your advice in 3-minute segments from TikTok. I can promise you that.
Well, I'll go back to something you just mentioned too a few moments ago. Keeping things simple, right? We've talked about it on the show, the acronym, keep it simple, stupid. Now we're not calling anybody stupid. You've, I think, called me stupid the first show we did. But bringing it back though, it's something you want to try to keep things as simple as possible because it is really easy to get caught up in all the terminology,
it is.
Right?
And you can have another very important term. Have you heard this before, right? You can get paralysis by analysis, right? If you fail to make a decision, I need you to understand something. You made a decision by not making a decision. So it's important to make sure that you sit down and you understand the why. You make the right decisions. And when I tell people this all the time, I think it's super important, Kevin, I do not make people's financial decisions for them. I have enough trouble with my beautiful wife and making the right decisions for my 2 kids to make decisions for you. But what I do want to do is be a part of your team. I want to be the guy that says, Kevin, Melissa, I know you think that Tesla Cybertruck's the right move, but I think it's a mistake, and here's why. But if you really, really want that electric vehicle, here's why I think the Model 3 might be a good fit for you, and here's the difference for you out 10 years, 20 years for retirement. If you don't want to send the kids off to a private school, it might be a great idea to use the Georgia prepaid if they have one. Whatever the situation is, being able to sit down and humanize it and make it make sense is what we want to do. Just because you come through our door does not mean you're going to become my client. And you're not going to choose me as your financial advisor. Matter of fact, if that was the case, none of us would be happy. We want to have choices. I want you to know that when you come through the door, you're walking out, regardless of if you decide to work with me or if you decide not to, you're going to walk out knowing more than you did when you walked through the door. That simply is our only goal, so you can make better decisions. I don't want to be the coach. I want to be a member of your team. That's all I want to do and help you make better decisions. And I answer some wacky questions, Kevin. Should I get the water softener? Should I do this? And I consider that an honor because that makes me part of the decision-making team for that family. So you're on the right track. We do this each and every day, and I love doing it.
Well, if you'd like to talk to Jim and his team, they're standing by to take your calls today, or you can visit them online at their website anytime. It's getfst.com. Jim, got about a minute left in the show, and as always, floor is all yours for the final word, my friend.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, guys, every week, Kevin, I know that you have tons of options when it comes to getting information, and we're just honored that we're one of those resources for you. So like you said, if there's anything we can do for you, pick up that phone, give us a call, shoot us an email, go to our webpage. There's 100 different ways to get in touch with us. Do one of those. Make today the day that you start working towards your own financial independence. Don't hesitate. Let us be a part of that story for you. But with all that being said, on behalf of myself and my amazing co-host, Mr. Kevin Mack, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Financial Straight Talk.
Thanks for listening to Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox. To learn more, visit getfst.com.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Wadadley Financial Group. Wadadley Financial Group is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Wadadley Financial Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Wadadley Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any government agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Wadadley Financial Group.